Given the fact that volunteers tirelessly and selflessly give of their time to clean the beaches of the country, I'm delighted to team up with Clean Coasts for this year's Coca Cola Clean Coasts Week. Running from the 1st to the 9th of June, the campaign aims to encourage and to empower local communities around the country to get out and engage with and to protect our natural maritime resources, something that's of obvious benefit to all of us.
McGrath, former Waterford Senior Hurling Manager, father to Oren and Fionn, husband to Sarah, and delighted to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here.
Thanks, man.
I wonder, did I realise, or do you think that there's a benefit as well for the teams, like for the GAA culture, to be involved in the likes of Beach Clean?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose all our teams that were involved in the GAA are centred on volunteerism. They're centred on who you are, what you represent, where you're from, and if you can cultivate that or nurture that within an environment that you're helping, your local area, the coast, etc., I think it's only to be supported. Ultimately, being on the coast here, on the beach, or being involved in things that evoke a volunteer spirit, I think it's good for you too. There's nothing wrong with giving, and I think when you give, you feel better about yourself, and ultimately then the balance is achieved.
We talk about the community a lot in the GAA, but also your place, that you're representing your place and your people in that. And sometimes I wonder, are we actually connected to our place? Like, are we out on our beaches, or are we out in our forests? Are we just taking time to actually tune into for Waterford? I mean, look at this place, it's spectacular. Do you actually get out into that?
Well, again, I think we are, and I think we're getting better at it. I think given the whole development physically, mentally, I think we're more aware that our environment shapes us, and there's more of an appreciation for our environment. Just in terms of the opportunity it gives us to clear the mind, to visualise, to walk, to physically kind of, not detox, but physically kind of just to reinvigorate ourselves.
This idea of, for me as well, of getting the lads who are doing the beach clean over on the beach, like a little bit of wild hurling, a bit of wildness, that it's not, doesn't always have to be this structured thing, like that we could all be going around with hurls all the time, like a couple of hurls in the boot in case, and then if there's 7 or 8 people here, you can just play on the beach, and there doesn't have to be this intense structure, that it can be played for the sake of just playing as well,
Leaving in play for what it is, and representing what it does. And to me, there's an obvious connection then, an obvious fusion then between the coast and hurling. And people might see that as a strange analogy. It's, as you said, it's the wildness of it. Yeah. It's the kind of instinctive nature of it. It's the non-prescriptive method of it. Yeah. And just leave them play.
It's like allowing for the fact that you can stand here and say, look, I'm not perfect too. I've used things and I've thrown away things that I might regret, but I accept that I'm on this process. Yeah. But you're willing to go to the line a little bit more, where sometimes you'll go over it and sometimes you won't quite get there, but at least the people who are there in front of you will be saying, yeah, well, I admire the fact he's willing to go there at least, because then what you have to say becomes more valuable.
For me, it comes back to the key issue. If you care enough, if you feel it, even in the process of doing something wrong or having a moment of weakness, I think you'll correct it, because ultimately the conscience will kick in. And you say, do you know what? I shouldn't have dropped A, B or C. I shouldn't have gone with the plastic lid. I'm changing. And I think that process of changing takes a while, and do you know what? It takes all your life, really, doesn't it? Yeah, and I think that one thing we have to become better at is adapting. I don't think we're good enough at adaptability, if you like. That whole idea that we have an environment, we live in a set environment. Now, what's good, what's bad? Without overly questioning things to the point where you become absolutely paranoid about your approach, but adapting to situations, adapting to your environment, adapting to the changes you need to make. And I think that comes from the home life. It comes from example, it comes from schooling, it comes from acting on the awareness. And I think that comes from home, it comes from complete example, and it comes from, I think, being able to draw comparisons between what you're really interested in, i.e. the GAA, soccer, in terms of a sporting front, theatre, drama, what you're really interested in, and how you can parallel or see an analogy between that and care for the environment. So A, for me, it's evoking the volunteer spirit. B, it's being conscious enough to kind of say, hey, this means something to me. And this means something to me. And a realisation, hang on, there's people putting lots of effort into the tidying of something, there's people putting lots of effort into the cleaning of an area, and equating that with the effort that goes into a team in any way. And I think once you get that, once you actually understand and once you begin to feel it, then I think the thing takes off.
During the week, Clean Coasts are encouraging us to get out and get involved in keeping our coastlines and our waterways litter-free. Litter is particularly damaging for our marine environment, so it's up to each of us to dispose of our litter responsibly. Get out with your family and your friends and organise a beach clean as part of Coca Cola Clean Coasts Week. For more, check out cleancoast.org. Gurda Mahagan.